again, we are facing some illness, both from my side and also, I don't know, Paul. Paul is connected from Brazil, from Florianopolis. So we are trying to have this experimentation among different different times in the globe. At the same time, today, as previously communicated, we are going to develop a practical lab, a lab in critical and collective mapping. So this is the reason why you should have your laptop, your own laptop, that should be switched on and ready to start also with the lab. Just to know, we decide as a public university to make also this lab available for other people. So we are actually right now also streaming on YouTube, as also we believe that the public university should have also a role to make knowledge public and accessible to all. So we are basically together with all of you in the classroom, and via Zoom we are going to perform specifically the critical mapping lab together with you. But there is also an audience watching and observing by the YouTube streaming. So basically today we are going to touch with our hands what means creating maps and what is the use of maps together with Paul Schweizer. Paul Schweizer is, I would say, an activist, an artist from the collective OrangoTango from Berlin. OrangoTango collective was born in 2008, and it is composed by critical geographers, but also from friends and activists. We would deal with questions regarding the space, the power, and the resistance. And they have a great experience also in terms of counter mapping and participatory mapping. So today we are going to start together with Paul this critical and collective mapping lab. We're going to use also an online dashboard. It is perhaps somebody in the classroom can also share the URL. It's miro.com/map. So perhaps you can or write somewhere in the blackboard or to share this URL with all the students, because we are going to play with maps and to use this online dashboard all together. So I don't want to steal more time to the master Paul Schweizer. I have to say thank you to him. It is an unusual appointment in our course to have Paul Schweizer with us, and it is also an honor and a pleasure to share together with him and together with the students the experiences and approaches from the OrangoTango collective. So I'm going to shut up myself and give the floor to Paul Schweizer. Thanks to all.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here once again. It is, I don't know, the fourth time or so that we have this online lecture, conference, workshops. And for me, it's really a pleasure, especially because it's so good to know our comrades in university that are committed to critical research, critical education, of course, and also to the struggles, social struggles on the streets. And we know that in this case, we know that we're supporting, that we're on the same side, supporting each other, supporting struggles that we're involved in. So I would, of course, like to, I would love to be with you in Padua, but I'm in Brazil, so I couldn't come by for this 2 hours lecture. We have to do it online, but what we're going to do is a lot of what we could do also if we were together in class. And before starting telling you a bit about the practice of Kollektiv Orangotango and a bit more about critical militant mapping experiences that I want to share, I would like to hear a bit and see a bit from you what kind of mapping experiences you have. And I'm not asking you to share experience of your recent studies or things you encountered in academy, but actually I would like to go back and to look at what kind of first mapping experiences all of us need, because we know that maps are so present and so powerful in our everyday lives. And even as children, we are already bombarded with maps, I would say, in some cases, or confronted with maps, surely. And I would like to hear from you, as you're a really heterogeneous group, what kind of first encounters with maps you made. And to do that, I would like to ask you to now really close our eyes, find a comfortable position in the classroom where you are at this moment. Be quiet, not talk for a minute. And as I said, close our eyes and try to go back to our childhood and remember where we lived, the house or apartment that we lived in with our families, the neighborhood, the school, activities. And then think of what kind of maps were present in these early memories. So where was it that you saw maps? Or more even, where was it that someone showed you a map, explained something with the map, about the map? And find images of these first maps you saw, you encountered, you reflected on in your childhood. And if these images already come up, then try to ask again, like, what was it that intrigued you about these maps? What was exciting, impressive, frightening? What kind of emotions would these maps provoke to you? And I would ask you to stay one more minute with eyes closed and to find these images of early maps in your life. And in 1 minute, we'll come back and share about this. Okay, so I think we can come back and open our eyes. And now I'd like to share a bit of the images that came up in our minds by sketching whatever kind of image of map came to your mind on a piece of paper. And I'd ask you to not talk while doing this. So everyone stays with themselves and with their images. Please share papers and pencils if you see anybody doesn't have one at hand. And we would go really quick at 2 minutes sketching, and it's not about like having a perfect map sketch. No, it's not about being able of drawing this or that well. Just bring whatever kind of image you have in your head now to the paper quickly. So that was 2 minutes. I think we can take like some more seconds just to finish it up, but it doesn't need to be, as I said, no perfection needed here. And now I'd like to know, of course, where it is that your this quick journey to our childhood brought you to. So where you passed your childhood, where you had this first mapping experiences with maps, and we'll share this now on a common map that I'll drop into our Miro. Please don't touch now. Just give me a second in order to fix the basis of the map. There we go.
Just in case you're looking for the link, I send by Moodle a communication with the link to Miro. Just click on the link that you received 2 minutes ago on your email. Thanks.
And now I think that in the class you can share the map, Elena and Daniele.
Exactly. Thank you, Francesco.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And now you will see Elena, Daniele, maybe you could go zoom a little bit out so I can show what we're going to do. Just a bit more to have the key below the map. A little bit more, a bit down. Yeah, could you go a bit more down still? To the below the map, there's the key. It would be good if everybody could see it. So just navigate a bit down, please.
Yeah, okay, no zoom out. Can you scroll down the, yeah.
Exactly. So you see, this is our map of first cartographic experiences. And as we're a group that comes from all different places around the globe, I thought it would be lovely to map this on the world map. So what you're invited to do now is to just take a dot, one of these dots that you find below the map, and take it to the place that you grew up and that the map you just draw, where you encountered the map that you draw right now in the exercise we did. And please help your colleagues, if anybody is not able to move the dots in Miro. Choose the color you wish of the dots. It's they are just, the colors don't have a significant key to it. Also, it's just everybody takes the one they feel that best represents. And if you accidentally like delete your colleague's thoughts or do something you didn't want to on Miro, just press Control C or Command C, come si dice? Z. Control Z to go back, and it will delete your last action. And then once we manage to do this, to put the dot in place, what I would like to ask you to do is to bring your drawing to the map. So that's a bit more complicated, of course, but basically what we need to do is to take a photo of our map, and to just, if you manage to bring the photo to your computer, you can basically just drop the file into Miro, and otherwise you can upload a file by pressing the plus on the sidebar, on the left side sidebar, and then going to the upload tool. And maybe in that case, it would be better if I share the screen quickly, so it's I can show it first. Thank you. So I'll just share the screen. And then what happens is exactly this, like the files you drop in come really large, but you can make them smaller just by pushing the thing. I wanted to show the upload tool that's right here. Otherwise, if you don't see it in your toolbar, it will be plus more apps, and then there's the upload thing, and then you got my device, and then it should like open all the possibilities and make you navigate to wherever your file is, and also here help your colleagues to also take a photo of their drawing if they don't manage to bring it to the mirror right now. And then we should find a common size for the images, rather small, so we can place them around the map. You can also, of course, turn your image like that and make them a bit smaller even. And now I think it's interesting also to know whose map is which one. So I would take, again, if you click on your dot, then you find the white dots next to them, which are to like make it smaller or bigger. But then once your dot is selected, there's also the blue dots, and here you can define a connection. You can dot to your drawing, and then of course you can like still share and like change the setting of the connection and stuff like that, but that's not so important. And now once you did this, you can move the drawing and it will still be connected to the dot. You can also like cut your parts of your drawing. And that's basically it. And I think we can have like just some more minutes to work on that. Please turn on your microphones and ask if anything's not clear or not working the way you want it to work, so we can fix together. Beautiful, a lot going on the map. And also if there's no questions right now, while still putting the last images, drawings to the map, you can also turn on the microphone and just share, like, how was it to remember this early encounters with maps? And anyone who wants to share, like, what kind of map was it? What made it? What kind of emotions were it? What kind of significance did you give to this map as a child? Anyone wants to go?
Don't be shy.
Anyone wants to share? We have the microphone.
Okay, so
Please say
my
your
my
name,
picture was
where
the Dirke
where your thought
Weltatlas,
was. Yeah.
and it was always it was my favorite book at school, definitely, because it was aesthetically very pleasing, and you had the whole world in like one book, which was amazing. And I have like in my mind this picture of the orange that represents the world, and then when you peel it, you know how it works to put basically the globe on a map. Okay, the connection is weak.
Thank you. Please say your name and also tell us which dot on the map you are.
Ciao, I'm Alessio. I still didn't connect my point on the map, but to the drawing. But well, it's like a point in Rome and then into the Adriatic Sea, on the coast. Because I remember that like I had several maps in my mind when I was a child, and was a very punctiform conception. Like I used to know very well certain places, while I didn't know what happened between those places, because simply growing up in a city like Rome, my parents used to carry me on like by car to the school, to our house in the Adriatic coast. So I arrived at the point to think that London was like the airport of Rome, because when my uncle that used to live in London arrived, we used to go by car to take him to pick and so I was convinced that London was the Rome airport. And well, yeah, I remember this like dynamics of points, while what was between them was uncertain for me. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Alice.
Hi, I'm Francesca, and I'm from Italy. And I don't know if my map. Yeah, I did two different drawings. One is the first thing that it came in my mind when I thought about map, and it was the emergency plan to escape from the school in case of fire or earthquakes or other things. And so when I was in the primary school, we had this emergency plan with the map of the school in the door, and we had to learn very well how to escape and like the safety stairs. And that was one of my first one of the first things that came to my mind. And the other one was the Lonely Planet, that was it's full of maps from exotic places in the world, and every time that I used to go with my parents in holidays, we had a Lonely Planet, and the few images, like the maps were just the only images of Lonely Planet. So I used to spend my holidays very excited looking into these maps. So it's a nice memory about holidays. Thank you.
Thank you. Now maybe we had, I think, 3 maps that are located in Europe. Maybe we could go to another continent. I see there's some dots in Latin America and also in Africa, Western and Central Africa, if I get it right. Anyone wants to share?
Hi, my name is Beatriz. I am from Pernambuco. And a map that I draw was the one from 1870, that it was from the Pernambucana Revolution, like the Pernambuco Revolution. That was when for 75 days, Pernambuco was a country. It defended from the Portuguese Empire. And yeah, I think this was a really interesting memory for me because I was really impressed when I was a kid that Pernambuco was a country for even for a few time. It was really remarkable for me, I guess. So that's what I drew.
Thank you so much.
Okay, hi, my name is Maria Jose. I'm from Ecuador, and the draw is like next to Via's one. And I draw like Ecuador, but especially like the mountain part, like the Andean part of Ecuador. And I think it was the first memory that I have because it was a masterpiece. Because I did the map at like the age of 7, and I think it was a masterpiece because I put like, I don't know is the name, plastilina, is it in English? Yeah, plastilin with like sticks, and I connect the whole dots, and I did this kind of map with a lot of colors. And then I realized, then I thought like Ecuador was the whole world. I thought that when I was child. And then I realized that no, the Andean part is huge. So yeah, but like at the beginning, the whole world for me, just the mountain part. Yep.
Thank you so much. Should we have some voice from Africa before we go on?
Thank you. My name is Samuel, and I am the green dot near the Great Lakes in east of Africa, Rwanda. My first encounter, if I can put it that way, with maps, my drawing, it's like a blackboard or maybe a wall on which there is a map. And that's pretty much where I first had like the experience of looking at a map up close. Thank you.
Thank you, Samuel. So thank you very much, everybody, for sharing.
Thank you. I'm sure I'm the last person.
Go.
I'm Bertrand Aristide from Cameroon. I'm the one from Central Africa, and I drew a map of Cameroon for sure, because my memory is growing up right from kindergarten, primary school. We always learn how to draw a map of Cameroon before even learning how to draw the map of Africa or the world. So that's the first memory that came to my mind, because every stage of kindergarten, primary school, we always had to draw the map of Cameroon, maybe in geography or in some other subjects. So thank you. That's the first memory that came to my mind.
Thank you. Thank you so much, all of you, for sharing. It's so rich. Like I think we could go on a whole semester working really with these early experiences that all of us made, especially because we come from so different places in the world, right? Thank you also for those who didn't have the chance to share now, for your patience. Unfortunately, we have little time, but I hope what we do today can also be a basis for you to go on to reflect in the group, in classes or outside of classes as you want. And also the Miro board that we're using now will be at your, you can still go on using it. So please we can consider this just a start of a longer reflection process on maps. Now, if you don't mind, I would like to tell you a little bit of the context that my mapping practice comes from. And I would do this by sharing a bit of our collective's work. I just need to share the other screen. So to make you understand what I'm talking about when I say critical cartography and collective mapping, and what this has to do maybe with your studies or with social struggles that you know or that you're involved in. So as was said before, my name is Paul Schweizer. I'm a geographer, popular educator, activist, art, like I wouldn't consider myself an artist, or just as much as I'm a human being, so I'm also an artist. And what we do as Kollektiv OrangoTango, and what is important to understand our mapping practice also, is basically activism in different contexts, as you see on these images, like from urban gardening, occupation of public spaces in Berlin, a lot of painting in public space with populations, like giving visibility to political and social struggles, as like the image in both the images at the upper right side and the bottom left shows, like with immigrant movements, as well as like neighborhood populations, or we are doing a lot of educational processes like excursions, as the one you see, the boat excursion on urban policies in and urban development, gentrification in Berlin, the image on the upper left side. And basically, like the approach that we always apply in these different contexts that we live in and militate in, the approach is to use the methods that we have at hand. In a lot of cases, that's creative methods like painting and mapping, but also like performative methods sometimes. To use these methods to bring to bring different kind of demands, to bring subjective positions, other perspectives, voices that are maybe not that prominent normally in public discourses, to express themselves, right? As this image may represent this boy in the peripheries of neighborhoods, of course, and painting himself on the wall of his neighborhood. And then from the creative work, subjective work, we go on to do collaborative work with different groups. That is a lot of times it's like social movements or populations of a neighborhood, and it's basically like where we live. We are a group that lives in different parts of Europe and Latin America, basically. So work together to reflect, but also to change our immediate environment, say. And that's, of course, a lot inspired by works of Paulo Freire, like popular education, and also social movements that are inspired by this Paulo Freire and other theorists work. So in this case, like work together to change something, and may it be just symbolically, or even better, change something of the living conditions that we're in. And the same approach we use for like research that we do, as some of us are also working in an academic university context. The approach is basically the same, using a lot of creative research methods to work with people and to create reflection and research output, academic output that can help social struggles and change something. And then one of the methods that we also work with is mapping, as the title of this workshop says. Sometimes we actually produce maps with social movements, and like these are maps that we produced years ago in Berlin with community gardens, and also with like urban housing struggles, anti-gentrification struggles, stuff like that. But more than producing actual maps, we work in mapping processes. So we use maps as a tool for processes of reflection, of building community, of drawing, like designing strategies and stuff like that. And we see ourselves really as a group that wants to give our service kind of to different struggles. So we provide manuals in different languages, other kind of mapping materials, say icons, videos, and all kind of like tutorials, stuff that make mapping that is traditionally a really elitist scientific tool, to make it, to popularize it, and to give it at anybody's hands who wants to change the environment. And then we are also a network that brings together a lot of different mapping experiences from all of the world, but most from Europe and Latin America, and a bit North America too. So one of the works we did that is also in the title of this workshop is this This is Not an Atlas book, which is a collection of different kind of activist critical counter mappings. And you can find the PDF online for free, and also the online version I will share later on. But it's not just a book, it's really a network. So we're in contact with most of the people and groups that contributed to this book. And so we help each other in the struggles that everybody's involved, and we exchange methods and stuff like that. But now I would like to go a bit more into what I mean when we say critical cartography. So for this, to make it short, I would like to show a short video. I would share the link here, but I guess I can also share it on my screen, just sharing my screen, right? Well, basically, maybe you could play in class and share the screen, just to make sure that for the connection. And I will also, for anybody who's following online and wants to watch the video in another language, I will share the link to our website, where you'll find it in in Spanish, French, Italian, German. Portuguese is in the making. But no, we can watch it together in English. It's just 9 minutes. Eccoci. Ok, questo video l'abbiamo fatto English. This video we made some years ago in order as a quick introduction in workshops to the basis of critique of cartography that we think is important to have to go on to do what we like to call critical mapping. Any comments, short things you want to share after watching the video? No?
No, we don't have.
Okay, thank you. So then we would go on really with the next small mapping again on Miro. And as we said in the video, we in our experience it's really so important. It can be such a useful and important tool to exchange on say a territory that we inhabit together, right? So what I would like to do now with you, as you recently arrived in Padua and lived together in the city that I guess some of you knew already, most probably didn't. And there it can be nice to exchange on experiences, to know about each other's subjective perceptions of space. And I would like to do this very quickly in a mapping, and I'm going to show you here on Miro. We were over there, and now we're just a bit to the right. You will find this map, which is basically black and white print of the constructed environment of Padua. A lot of concrete, some historic center. You can maybe see here is where the train station is, and then you also see the river. You can kind of know here the central piazzas and stuff like that. And I would like to know from you how the city makes you feel, which neighborhoods or streets make you feel like safe, curiosity, joy, but also fear, anger, if you want. And to do this, we will use another tool in Miro, that's the pencil. And you would need to go to the pencil here on the left side. Now it's important that you look in the shared screen. Click on the pencil, please, and do not use the pencil here, but use the highlighter. Because the highlighter is transparent, and that so my feeling doesn't overpaint yours, but they can exist both at the same time. And then you would, if you click here on the point, you can choose the colors. So that would be curiosity. Yellow is joy, and then that one would be anger, let's say. And then you would zoom in and start to draw on, say, in my case, the piazzas in the Centro Storico cause curiosity because I've never been to Padua. and I would like to get to know these places, right? And others actually have other emotions regarding the public space in Padua. So please take some minutes to draw in the map and help your colleagues if anybody has problems with the use of Miro, or ask me. And you can also paint where somebody already painted. You can paint over it as we use the transparent highlighter. It won't erase the other's emotions. So it can accumulate. Now, Francesca, you are using the pencil. So please click on the pen and then use the other one, the highlighter. So it is transparent. Right, perfect. And now if it's a whole neighborhood that makes you feel safe, for example, you can also like fill it up and paint it all in purple.
Sorry, we have a comment from the classroom.
Sorry, I don't know where we are. I don't recognize the map at all. So I want to ask where is Prato de la Valle? Because I think it's the only thing that I know in a map.
Maybe I can answer. So Prato della Valle is white. I don't know if Salvatore that is on the map. Yes, is that point. There is a little dot green point where there is Felipe.
Felipe.
Yeah, as
Now
the map
there
is
is
showing only the build-up, Prato della Valle that is basically grassland is not visible, but it is like a white space where there is Bertrand, Maria Jose, and all these green dots.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Francesca.
So while we had the first minutes of this map, it seemed all like happy map, happy, like curiosity, joy, safety. Now there's some anger appearing on the map, and there's some fear also. And I would say we go on just 1 more minute. And now it makes me, of course, even more curious to get to know Padua and to know more from your experience of the city. But maybe we can just very quickly share one or the other comment on what you draw on the map, what kind of emotions, and also on how it was to draw your emotions on this map together.
Is there anyone who wants to share?
Yeah, I like a lot of activity, but while I was doing it, I also thought that to me sometimes it's very different the map when it's day and when it's at night, because some stories during the day I feel very safe, but during the night not. For instance, like all the houses with the porticos. Oh, I don't know what's the name. Like there is, like I don't like walking through them because there is no light, for instance. But during the day, I love it. So that was something I realized when doing the map, that yeah, some places are like it depends on the timing.
Thank you so much. That's such an important comment.
Okay, we have another person.
We could do the map like for different times of the day, and would be so interesting to do the same map, one for the day, one for the night, one for the during the week, one for the weekend, and stuff like that. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Camila, and I noticed while making the map that at the beginning you tend to highlight a few bit of spots that you know where you spend a lot of time, but while looking at it more and more, you kind of try to recall feelings that you connect to places that you maybe also cross or have crossed just a few times, and it's kind of interesting to take this moment to yeah, put feelings on places. That's something like I've never done. It's quite interesting, I think.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Okay.
Hi, my name is Juliana. I just wanted to point out that the first thing that come into my mind when you told us to associate the feelings to specific places in Pada was also like the beliefs that some people have about the specific places. Like I have, since I arrived to Padua, for example, I have heard that Arcella is a very dangerous neighborhood. And I have this curiosity of if is it true, or is it just like a belief because there is a lot of migrants in that zone. And I put curiosity because I have explored that place, and well, I have tried to create my own perception of that place and not just like follow the general perception that maybe we receive of others. So yes.
Thank you so much. And that's exactly also I think one of the most important points about this kind of exercise, I think, is that we can use, as I said, it's not about the result. like it's about a process. And now looking at the map, I think it's so obvious if we see there's for somebody this big boulevard or the riverside at some point is anger, and so for someone else it's joy. So it's so good to confront ourselves on why do I feel joy here, or why could I, as a white cis male with a German passport, probably paint most of the map or the whole map as safe, while others in the room wouldn't feel the same. And this is a lot of what we think critical mapping processes should look like and could be used for, right? And we have this experiences with, say, mapping with the population of a neighborhood, and you would have the old lady painting the piazza as a place of fear, and then you have the youngsters and they're painting the piazza as a place of joy. And while I remember this situation in one of the other mapping processes where they painted and then they realized, like, for me it's joy, for her it's fear. And then they looked at each other and they started to talk about it. And well, I imagine is it there something changes when they use the map to confront each other, to get to know each other, to know about their needs. It can change also social realities, right? Hopefully. But to go on, I would like to go a bit deeper into what we call critical mapping, also counter mapping, militant mapping, you name it. And I have some more pictures to share with you to look at different aspects of what we call counter map. Let's see. I'm sorry, I don't know why they call it here. It's actually a public place. I hope someone opens the door. Okay. Just give me a minute.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry. Okay. So to look at some aspects of critical maps. What can critical maps do, or what should they do, right? We heard a bit about the critique of maps in the video. So surely one of the things that we would expect critical maps to do is to show other perspectives, right? And this can be, of course, in the most obvious way as this map shows, to put the south up instead of the north, as we have it in dominant cartography most of the times. But this beautiful maps that is made by the Iconoclastistas, Argentine, like Buenos Aires-based kollektiv, brings other perspectives in different ways. So it's not just the south up; it's also prioritizing the feminist and feminine instead of the masculine in a patriarchal society, as we know. And it's also prioritizing the rural instead of the urban, because if we look at world maps, normally you have like New York, Sao Paulo, Tokyo as important titles, and not the female rural population. So that's for me a great example of different ways of bringing other perspectives than the dominant on the map. And then another aspect that I would expect critical maps to do is, of course, looking at who's actually producing maps and who's legitimated to produce maps. Now, traditionally in dominant Western cartography, that's me, a white male, academically educated European, right? So critical maps, we would say, need to bring other people in the position to make maps as children who are, I mean, there's scientific publications about how children are not able, like on a cognitive level, not able to produce maps, but of course they are, as this example from Uruguay rural school shows. Or also one of the big topics in Europe and around the world right now, when we talk about migration, who's traditionally producing maps on migration? It's states, or even worse, it's Frontex. So it is critical maps should be made also by who migrate, as in this case, a map from a great project that is made showing the way from Afghanistan to France from the point of view of the migrant who actually experiences this journey. And then, of course, we would expect critical maps to bring forward other content. Say, instead of the state perspective, instead of the private property perspective, bring the perspective of autonomous resistant movements, as in this case, a map from Berlin that archives basically the occupation movement and history of the occupation movement in Berlin. Then this brings us, of course, also to a point where we say, it is not just the map, it's the whole narrative that the map is part of. Again, talking about migration, we would see in this image, in a small image, we see a map on migration that is basically the Frontex perspective. So migration is like the big, dangerous red arrow that points to Europe, right?
Sorry, Paul. Sorry to interrupt you. We don't see the presentation. Maybe it's frozen or...
No, but before you saw it?
Yeah, perhaps it's not started yet as presentation mode. We see all the slides, but we don't see the presentation modality.
Mannaggia la miseria, come ha fatto?
Okay.
Perfect.
No.
Perfect. Thank you.
So you didn't see all of the maps?
Exactly. We didn't see all the maps. Again.
No.
Yes,
Fine,
sorry. We wrote in the chat, but of course you didn't have the chance to read. So
And we didn't want to interrupt you, Paul.
yes, sorry.
Interrupt me. I love it to be interrupted, especially in online workshop. It's the best thing to happen, to be interrupted. So quickly again, this is the first map talking about other perspectives, the Iconoclasistas map. All of these examples come from the This Is Not an Atlas, and you will find them also on the This Is Not an Atlas website, notanatlas.org. And then talking about children as cartographers or migrants as cartographers, the occupation squatting movement in Berlin. And then this is the, as I said, the small image is the Frontex map. And then on the same topic of migration, borders, access, you could make a completely different map that is part of a completely different. This example from the work of Filip Rekačević shows where it's not the migration that's the problem, but it's the border and the passports that don't give you access that is a problem, right? So it's important also when we do maps to think of what kind of narrative do we want to make the map be a part of a tool for. Of course, it's not just the content, but it's also the form, the design of the map. Like what kind of we have this here, of course. Philippe in recent years using a lot of this hand-drawn aesthetic, which is really beautiful, I think. And then, especially in collective mapping processes, it's important that we open ourselves to other, to make other knowledges be part of the map, right? This again is the same project as the one as this, where we see in a situation in which these colleagues mapped with people in some cases where they didn't even speak the same language, using different materials would help to make them communicate still, even in non-verbal ways, right? So that brings us, of course, to the point of mapping as a process and as a way of knowledge production. So for us and for the work of Kollektiv OrangoTango, it's really a lot about this. It's that while traditional mapping, like hegemonic Western mapping, is made in an institute, in a military or in a state institution, and it produces, of course, a certain type of knowledge. While when we are mapping with people on the streets or with people in a activist group meeting, it's a completely different kind of knowledge production. And there it's important to think about the relations that the mapping is part of, as part of the mapping. So it's like when we map, there's a lot of building trust in a group, sometimes for weeks before even starting anything of what we would call a mapping, like before touching a map, basically. And then, of course, there is the use that we make of maps. So Western cartography, first of all, was a tool, was used to colonize the whole world, was used to for wars, for fascist propaganda, for enclosure, for dividing the territory of our continents into private properties. So a lot of evil, let's say, uses were made of maps. And I think when we're talking about critical maps, we really need to talk about the uses that we make of maps, because in the end, the struggle does not happen on the map, but on the territory itself. And this is something that I would like to go on to practically map with you. And I would share again the Miro screen. Just 1 minute. So I would drop another map in our Miro. Ah, fecha um pouco. Não, deixa. Sim.
Quanto tempo mais?
Agora vejo.
Mas vou almoçar aqui.
Tá. So if you move a bit more to the right, there's the next map. And now I would like to ask you, to bring to the map uses that that you plan to or would like to or imagine to make to socially or politically or environmentally, we can say also, transform our reality, our planet, right? And to do that, you can navigate over here to the blue and purple map and just take any of the dots that you find below and bring them to the place that you think about transforming the world, that you're already involved in social struggles or that you would love to involve because you think it's important issues. And now I would already explain the next step, so everybody can go straight ahead. Once you brought your dot to the place that you would like to talk about, say Florianopolis in my case, or Rio Grande do Sul, you could zoom in on your dot, as I'm doing right now, and then it's still just a white dot, so it doesn't tell you anything about what I want to do here, right? So there's a way to make this white dot become an icon that explains something about, symbolically, about the practice that I want to apply here. And we're using this icon finder tool. In your sidebar, probably it is not visible yet. So you would need to press the plus for more apps. And there you can scroll down and find it, or you can write icon finder, there it is. And then you can also drop it to the sidebar. In my case, it's already fixed on the sidebar. And then once you have your icon finder, you open it. And here you have all kinds of icons that you would maybe use to symbolize the struggle that you want to engage in. So say it's about saving the Mata Atlantica forest, right? You write forest and you see what kind of icon finder gives you. Then you choose the icon you want to use. Say this simple tree, and you drop it to your icon. Then you just need to resize it once it's loaded. And then you have your icon here. So resize it so it's inside the white dot, or at least more or less like this. And there we have it. And of course, help each other if something's not working. Also, if you don't find the icon, you can just say it here to everybody so someone else can drop the icon in. And the prompts for icon finder need to be in English. It doesn't understand any other language. So let's see what happens on the map. And once you did this, I didn't actually plan to bring this in too, but now I'm so curious about the icons that you put on the map and about the struggles that you want to engage in. So I put next to the map, I put this fields where it says name organization. And you could just, once you have your icon placed the way you want, or also more than one icon, you could click on one of these fields, like double click, and then you can start to write about. And you can, it says name organization, you can just delete it. You can, if you want to share your name, like say Power, kollektiv OrangoTango. I'm sorry, it's busy here. Then you could just connect it to the dot. Again, to connect, take the click on your field, and then press on the blue button, and then you can like push this connection to where you want to have it. And you can also change the color. White is good actually. You can change the type, like if you don't want to have it, don't want to have the arrows, you click on none on both sides and stuff like that. And then into the field, you can write, of course, more information about the initiative that you're talking about. So I would write mapping with indigenous communities in Rio Grande do Sul. And you can also put a link to it, so your colleagues could click on it and know more about the initiative if there's already a link or something you want to share, right? And if you have a lot of text, you can also just make your text field a bit larger so it fits. And I think this is something that we could go on. So I think we could go on here for a long time probably, but I would like to take the time that we have here together to do another mapping still. And if it is interesting for you as a cohort, as a class, of course you could go on to use this map to share realities that you're part of in your different in your countries, in your cities where you come from. I'm already really like excited and interested in everything you're sharing here, and I would love to see this grow. But if you're okay with it, I would for now go on to one more map. And I would just drop the template for it next to it on the right side. And again, it's about sharing struggles that you know about, that already exist. And we are here for this one. We will use icons that are produced again by the Econoclasistas, the collective that I mentioned before. And the map, the topic of the map is already existing alternatives. And you would see below some, let me share the screen again. The icons, like an example of the great work that the Iconoclasistas do, providing icons that are used for a lot of social movement struggles especially in Latin America, but by now also in North America and in some cases in Europe and everywhere. So you would see here icons that represent, say, LGBTQI plus movements, squatting, occupations, like how you say, popular kitchen cooking initiatives, recycling, dumpster diving, and all kind of movements or tactics that you maybe know about. And I would invite you to have a look at the icons and think of what kind of struggles you can relate to and what kind of struggles you know about, and to take the respective icon to bring it to the map, and then do the same thing as for the map before. you already did it, connect it to one of the text fields, and then give information, give also a link if you have a link project in order to make it accessible for everybody else. And we can also talk while doing that. So any questions or thoughts that you want to share, please just take the microphone, share here. I'm happy a bit more in interaction with you.
So if there is any question, if someone wants to share something, please. We have a question.
Yes, thank you. It's about the methodology, because before you told us that maybe this kind of mapping can give us the opportunity to share or confront different points of view. So I wanted to know, in your experience, how can you how can be the next steps in the methodology to produce this kind of conversation because it's online now, like it's so it may be difficult to confront points of view in a private or more private way, for example, that make it a safe space to share opinions and points of view.
Yeah, thank you. That's really important. Now, basically, what we do together today is really a way that basically we developed during the pandemic to do what we normally do on the ground, to do it also online. But most of the mappings, I think it's important to do it on the ground, to be together, to eat together. As I said, build a lot of trust, build relations, and it's not that simple. Like today, I'm like, hey, happy, let's do this and that map, and as if it was just not problematic. While in a serious mapping process, let's say, a big part of it is really about building the relations and defining together what are the aims of the process, but also what are the limitations of the process. It is so important that we acknowledge the sensibility of data that people bring to the map, right? So when we finish today, I want to ask you if you are okay with having this the Miro board that we share still being in use for you as a group. If you are okay with the stream being shared on YouTube, for example, because you put your data to the map, and we need to if this should just stay between us, or if we leave it on the web or in a mapping process on the ground, if the map that we produced may be used continuously, will be exhibited in some place, or if it will be just destroyed. I don't know if this answers your question.
So some feedback from the classroom?
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Are there other questions?
And otherwise, when it comes to methods, of course, this is a whole huge discussion, and I would be happy to have a seminar on methods, on, like, for example, we're working a lot with mapping without the visual, like mapping audio, mapping and all kind of stuff. Mapping paper, but using other materials like textiles and stuff. There's great work from different colleagues in this, and each of the methodological approach could also be a whole semester.
Sorry, we cannot
go
hear you
more
well.
profoundly in.
Sorry, Paul.
Yeah.
Your connection is bad since we cannot hear you well. Sorry. Okay. Can you repeat maybe?
I'm sorry. Until when did you hear?
Hello?
Hello, Paul?
You hear me?
Now, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not so crazy. It can be difficult. So, can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So, if you don't mind, I would go on just showing you a few pictures, and then we go back into it, like have some feedback, discuss together what was interesting for you, and maybe what you would like to go on to work on or reflect on, if this is okay.
Okay.
And please interrupt me if you don't understand me or if the image doesn't work or stuff like that.
Okay, I don't know if maybe it's better that we share the screen. No.
But now in this
Now
case, you
it's
don't have the
presentation.
presentation,
Okay,
right?
okay. So we can see the presentation.
Okay. So what I just wanted to say again is that in recent years, there's a lot of this mapping hype, like all kind of research project or cultural project. Everybody wants their mapping. And it is even more important to be critical about our own practice, to think about why should we map or why should we not map, what kind of data should we visualize or not. Is it relevant that I go to some place and produce a beautiful map and publish it and everybody claps their hands for me? Does it help to the struggle that we want to support? And one of the things is that we think it's really important to bring the struggle back to the territory. As in this example, where from the same project that we produced this map, also a mural in the neighborhood was created. Or in other examples, like this one is a recent example, the project that I'm working on now in southern Brazil with the Choclen indigenous communities. We use maps, but at the same time we produce all kinds of other materials to help. Also, we're having a campaign to collect donations to support the struggle, and we use the maps in their struggles for their territory. You hear me?
Yes.
Cool. Also, something that is interesting, I think that we reflect on and that we're sincerely about is that we criticize a lot the traditional Western mapping methods and aesthetics and all of it. But something that we learn in processes like the one now, this is a recent image from 2 weeks old, is that we use different kind of maps strategically. So within a community, for example, the large map here is a map that the community teacher made with the children of the community in order to project the future uses that they want to make of their territory. And it is here the most useful aesthetic and method is a freehand drawn a map that everybody, all the children could draw together and things like that. And then my role in the project, while I love to draw with the kids, it's like what I most enjoy. But the most useful way for me to be part of the project in this case is to produce the most conservative kind of map. That's the ones, the small ones that's around, in order to use it as a tool of making pressure to the institutions that need to collaborate in the recognition process of the indigenous community, indigenous territory in this case. So here we decide to use more conservative aesthetics because it may be more powerful on an institutional or juridical level. And then again, something that I think for us is most important is to use maps to stay in contact with struggles with comrades all around that, and this we do in different occasions. And again, to use the map to have different kind of action happening in different places. So we combine a lot of mapping and other methods, as you see, mapping and murals and stuff like that. And well, to make it more quickly, in the end, what we learned most about our engagement with critical mapping in the recent years is all the relations that we built up. And this, for example, is events that we organized when we published This Is Not an Atlas. But this kind of exchange continues for us, and also the workshop that we had today for me is part of this ongoing exchange. And I would just like to invite you to be part of the This Is Not an Atlas network and to get in contact again if you want to share work that you do, like activist mapping stuff, or also if you have questions or want to connect in order to work together and collaborate on activist militant mapping, let's say. And that's basically it from my part.
Thank you, Paul.
I hope you will understand me.
Thank you, Paul. I don't know if there is any questions or some curiosity from the classroom.
Anyone?
I try to break the ice with a quick question for Paul. As you mentioned, this separation also in cartography among the Western and non-Western culture. In case of starting like from zero, a process of mapping, critical mapping with non-Western culture, indigenous people, like as a starting point, especially if we don't share like a common mental map, a common physical space, a common code, or a way of coding the physical space, how can we like set from the beginning something that can start and go into the process of having a common shared cartographic process?
Well, I think there it's really useful to listen to ethnography methods and basically shut up and listen, like have time, drink tea, drink coffee together, and listen, and not like, I can just speak for myself in this process that I'm involved in now, here in southern Brazil. For me, it's just like, I'm so grateful to be part of this and to learn from the community, and to step back and like listen to their needs. And this means a lot of work that I do, not you know, the fancy work in the field, like being in these say exotic places and taking photos and feeling like I'm the important researcher. But I just shut up, sit down at home and do the work that I can do on the computer, on the arches, on whatsoever. So see my, as I have access to these powerful institutions like the German university and stuff like that, I need to do the boring institutional work and contribute to the struggle.
Okay, thank you, Paul. I'm going to pick up some questions perhaps from the classroom. Is there anybody that wants to make some questions to Paul?
Yes, one.
Okay.
Thank you. I think it's related to the previous question, because in some way in some parts we don't have the access for this kind of digital tools. So if we are working with a community and like they are not involved in this kind of digital tools as well, can we do an exercise, or do you know a methodology to have this kind of maps in that scenario?
I just didn't understand the last sentence. This kind of maps in
this scenario.
Yes. Like normally what we do most is really not digital at all, right? Normally we work a lot with like paper maps, a bit like the images I showed in the beginning, maybe like print the map basis, if you can, or draw it on a paper and bring it to the community, like, and then just draw together, prepare icons. I would share the screen again. Like in this image, for example. It's basically the same, it's even the same icons that we used on paper. And this is something like, if you have prepared icons, it works great for mapping within a community. And it is something that you could do, of course, in a process with a already existing group, but you could do it also in a, like, just on the street with people that walk by. If you have the icons prepared and the map base is prepared, you could do it in spontaneously in all different kinds of situations. Here again, it's a process in Porto Alegre some years ago, and then here it's a process, as I said, in public space, where we have the map basis. Basically, we draw it on textile, and then bring the icons over here on the desk, and then ask people to map their experiences. And then, as I said, like, the methodological thing goes much further. For example, we have this device also to bring audio, to interview people and bring voices, audios directly on the map, on the analogical map, where you could then touch the map. It's hard to see on the picture, and you would listen to the voice of the people. Or you could go even further and say, make the street become a map, like draw the map straight on the street, so people can walk and discuss actually on the map, meet on the map, stuff like that.
Maybe I have also a question for you, Paul. Just a curiosity. I don't know if you can answer, but is it easy for you to involve people in these participatory activities, and which could be some strategies to involve them in this kind of activities?
Yeah, really important question. See, the thing is that most of the contexts that I work in, or that we work in, like, we know them for years and years. But like the images that I showed from Naples, this is 50 years ago, or like, yeah, more than 10 years ago, and I still know this kid. Of course, now it's a grown man. So it is something that is really hard to do within project funding logics, because the common research project has a, say, 3 years funding period, and not a 15 years funding period, right? But I think this is like, for me, this is really the most important part of our struggle, to be academic, to be a researcher, but to build real relations, like when I go to Naples, I pass by his mother's house to drink a coffee and to talk about old times and stuff. And then when I want to do a mapping in public space, people are there, people participate, people trust. And I think this is the kind of, I think we really, as a collective, a lot of proposals that we receive, we don't accept, because it is not possible to do this kind of mapping in a context that I don't know, that I do not have the relations in, that I did not live in. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Like this, I say a lot, the most critical thing to do in critical mapping is to know when not to map.
I totally agree. Thank you, Paul. I don't know if there are other questions from the classroom. Time is running out.
Yes, we have one.
Okay.
Hello, Paul. My name is Mariana, and I am from Minas Gerais in Brazil. And to be honest, the first time that I saw another kind of maps besides the Eurocentric one was here. So I would like to know if you have been in like schools in Florianopolis, like how they approach this kind of things, because at least in my hometown city, like I studied in public schools and I have never seen another kind of maps besides the one that we have in the class here. So I would like to know if you have been in schools in Florianopolis and has examples of this kind of teaching geography. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a really important question also, because I think we, of course, need to bring the critical cartography early, right? To make it really influential, say. Like in Florianopolis, I live here more recently. I've not been in schools, but I can say that, of course, not in all Brazilian schools, but in general, the material that we have, like critical material on cartography that we have in Brazil, is much better than what we have in Germany or Italy, for example. I can share some work of, for example, Maria Elena Siminielli that did a great work in the 90s already, like work on mapping with children. Also Cinzia Batista of Urgis, Porto Alegre, does a lot of work on this. I'm wondering how to do this. Well, say anybody, like for all of you, if you want to something that I said to discuss in more detail, or if you want to give me like certain informations to you or share PDFs with you, you can just write to our collective email, I will read it. It doesn't have to be formal or so. Just, yeah, right. Like I was part of the workshop. Could you share this or that book with me or something like that? The email is info@orangotango.info.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
And then just one thing that before we finish, I would like to ask you to give some feedback also on the Miro, and I could share the screen again. You will find. Just a minute. On the Miro now, more on the right, you will find yet another map. And here it is not, even though there are the continents, it is not actually a geographical map, but the continents structure the feedback. So you could just take any of if you double click on your text here, you can write things that you enjoyed, or if you double click here, you can write something that was rather pointless. And I really appreciate if you take 1 or 2 minutes to write something so I can read it carefully tonight or whenever. But also now, if there's more questions, I'm also happy to keep on discussing what you know.
Thank you, Paul. I don't see other questions.
Thank you, Paul. I still see that it's crowded on Miro right now with a lot of movements.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you so much for leaving you, and also bring your critique, not just the positive feedback. I mean, I enjoy the positive feedback, but also tell me about what could be better.
Yeah, just a technical question about Miro. Is it possible to print it out, what we did in the classroom, like in a big poster, perhaps?
Yes, this also would be my last question. What should we do with the Miro? Now we did actually 4 maps were really beautiful, I think. If you want to keep on using the Miro, for me, you can use it. But if you say like, no, it's like my personal data on it, we better close it. I can close it and destroy it. And to print out, only I can export the maps or the images from the Miro. But I will be happy to do this. If you want to print it out, I would suggest that we say take maybe 2 more days or so, and you can go on working on it and also do a little bit of layout, like things that didn't work, adapt a little bit, and then I would make a PDF of each of the maps, and I can send it to you.
Okay. So the first question is to the students. So I don't know what is their feeling with about what they did in Miro. Do we have to burn it out now, or is it possible to have it in a shareable way? I don't know if you get the point.
They are discussing it.
Okay.
Okay. They say we can keep it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
So should tell me when I should export the PDFs.
I would say,
or also you can mail and say like now it is ready and I can do.
yeah, if possible, I would invite the students like in 24 hours, perhaps to have a look to the different maps, and if they want to like make some layout to be print them out, like 24 hours, and then we can just save them as PDF and share them. Okay.
Perfect.
So I would thank Paul Schweizer from the collective OrangoTango for this incredible and fantastic introduction to critical mapping. I think that you also show us the non-linear and the polyedric and the multiverse dimension of cartography, and also the way that it's possible to subvert and to deturn, giving the voice to those that has no voice usually in this world. And considering the time, I would close the classroom now, and saying thank you again to Paul and to the students that were kept until this time. Thank you so much to all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Paul. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Termina streaming.
Bye-bye.